If the Saudis removed 3 million barrels from the market, we'd be off to the races. The question is, will Saudi really use this oil weapon? I mean, that would endanger Saudi's reputation as a stable, reliable supplier to global markets. Something that Saudi oil minister, that's one of his big things. He keeps stressing, we will meet any shortfall in supply. So if they remove 3 million barrels, then they are the rogue actor on the oil markets.
I mean, Helima, how likely is U.S. sanctions on Saudi Arabia? Because, as I mentioned with Fred Kemp, there's been various violations they've been accused of in the past. This one feels like it's got a lot more.
This one feels a lot different. I mean, this is a situation where this is a U.S. resident, a very well-known journalist, a Washington Post opinion page writer. I mean, the allegations are so brutal, so horrific. The U.S. Congress is furious about this. Senator Bob Corker basically said the Senate relations with Saudi Arabia are an all-time low. They are pushing to potentially block weapons sales. They've invoked the Magnitsky Act. They've basically given the president 120 days to review whether any senior officials were involved in the Khashoogi case. So this actually could lead to some sanctions. I don't think this is going to be easily, put under the rug.
And yet, when you look at Brent crude right now, it's right around $80 a barrel, $8.67. It doesn't seem like there's been a major move today. Is this just investors and traders stepping back and saying, let's see how this plays out?
Let's see how this goes. I mean, the Saudi oil minister was out there to calm nerves, essentially saying, look, we are going to continue to be a stable supplier. He did say, though, that said, if we weren't making up for shortfalls, we'd already be at 100. So I do think we're going to have to watch, how this plays out. I mean, the Saudis are already reaching probably the limits of what they can bring on in terms of easy oil. And so we're going to have to see what happens as we approach Iran sanctions.
What's the reaction been to from other Western allies, particularly the Europeans, so far? Are they ahead of the curve, and does that make it more or less likely that President Trump will have to follow suit?
I mean, we had a joint statement from the French, the British, the Germans, basically expressing extreme concern about the Khashoggi case. Now, they haven't proposed any sanctions, but we just have to wait and see how this whole thing unfolds. Now, you've had the rogue theory put out there. You've had another story floated in the last couple of minutes that potentially this was an interrogation gone wrong. None of this looks good for Saudi Arabia.
What was your forecast for WTI for the rest of the year, and have you changed it today?
I mean, we see WTI, in the low to mid 70s ending the year. We see Brent, mid 80s. But again, these are the type of political wild cards that could send oil much higher. I mean, threatening to remove 3 million barrels from the market, that's the ultimate black swan event for the oil markets.